In a crowded social media landscape, how do you differentiate Parler from the other options out there?
Thank you for having me on. Well, Parler is a paradigm shift for the entire social media community. So a lot of the tools and things that are kind of central and authoritative on Facebook, Twitter, other platforms, we're giving back to the people to choose to use by respecting the First Amendment and respecting people's privacy.
What kind of traffic have you seen through and since the election? Obviously, it took off during the election, but since then, it seems like things have slowed down.
Well, this has been a trend ever since Parler has founded. So, if you even go back to the beginning of this year, we had around 300, 400,000 accounts. Now we have 12 million. And, a large chunk of that growth was around the election, but a large chunk of it was also 6 months before the election as well. So this is a normal trend in our space where we insert ourselves into into what's going on by offering people a solution to not be censored and to not have their data mined or, pillaged, like we like to say a lot of these other places are doing to people's data. And so during these viral events, we see some great growth, and we look forward to having more of them next year too, because we will, and we have a lot of fun ones planned.
Now, as you say, you're technically about free speech and not any particular political ideology, but let's be fair, you've got a lot of conservative users flocking to your platform. Do you think that this is something, that there is something there that liberal users could find value in?
Oh, tremendously, actually. So there is a lot of people on the left on the platform. Obviously, they're outnumbered greatly by conservatives right now. Which is fine. We are unbiased in that we're not defined by who's on our platform, but by our neutrality in handling the situations. What people on the left are going to find is that they are going to want to have conversations still across the aisle. And as they're pushed away from Twitter and Facebook and other platforms who don't want political discussion, it seems, they are going to be coming to Parler to have that discourse. And what's really nice, especially for everybody, not just left, right, and not even politically, is that when you follow somebody, you see the content that you opted into. There's no algorithm trying to determine what best to show you. On Parler, you see what you want to see, you get what you opted into, and you participate in a way that you've created. And so if you want to see left-leaning content, you follow people on the left, and that's what you'll see. You want to see sports, you follow sports people. And so you get what you want, not what the platform wants you to see. And that's why I describe this as a paradigm shift, because these other places are manipulating your following and what you're seeing based off of data they've gathered around you, which is why I called them data pillagers. And so it's a paradigm shift altogether.
From what I can tell, the president hasn't signed up for Parler yet, President Trump. Do you think he will after inauguration? And why isn't he there yet?
Well, I kind of see that it is inevitable, but, it's not something that we're basing our entire, strategy off of, right? Parler is going to succeed no matter what, because we have a founding principles that I think are required today in changing the atmosphere of social media altogether and changing the direction of our conversation online. One that's more kind of back to the people, back when, the internet was new and fresh. That's what we're trying to bring us back to is a people's place online, not a place for these kind of big tech oligarchs. So if he joins, that's great. We welcome him. If President-elect Biden wants to join as well, he's welcome. So we want everybody to join, and one day we think everyone will.
Have you had any contact with the administration to make that happen?
Well, I like to stay out of marketing, out of any of these kind of conversations. I like to focus on the tech. I'm an engineer by trade, so I like to stick to that world.
Facebook really cracked down on QAnon finally after many years in the lead up to the election. Did you see a pop after that? Do you think that you have attracted a number of QAnon followers who are trying to find a haven in another platform?
I don't think that we're the preferred place for QAnon. I'm pretty vocally, I don't like them, to be frank, not the people themselves, but the movement. I don't like it. And I argue with them on the platform if they're there. But, we welcome everybody, right? So if they're allowed to be on the platform, not that we really are trying to, go out and find them to bring them there, but they're welcome. I just, I'm not it's not my preferred audience.
So let's talk about your audience. Rebecca Mercer, who's a big conservative donor and backer, does she have, or how much input does she have in how you run the business? Are you seeking her out for advice, and does she give it?
Well, she has a relationship as an investor and, but is not a part of the day-to-day. So a lot of what we do is central around our marketing team, our advisory team, our employees. She's not a part of those conversations because she's an investor. I'm sure you're aware, if you purchase shares of Facebook, you're not welcome onto the day-to-day to have input. So it's a similar situation there.
So let's talk about the return on her and everyone's investment in your company. There does seem to be an issue with porn and bots promoting inappropriate content and inappropriate interactions. What are you doing to get a handle on that?
Well, if you look at any social platform anywhere, you will get people trying to attack it, either to promote advertisements, promote an agenda, whatever it might be, right? And so, yes, we crack down very hard on anybody who does that. I wouldn't describe it as a problem on Parler because 99% of people don't see it. In fact, anybody who is sharing that stuff, most of them get flagged automatically by our sensitivity filters. So I wouldn't describe it as a problem as much as one that's been manufactured by the press to try to make us look bad. But we are building more and more really cool algorithms that we're putting in the hands of people to use to help, work any kind of issues out that they might have, whether it's they don't want to see that, which, I don't think most of us do, or they just don't like, toxic speech, stuff like that. They can have the word filters, the moderation filters, and things that they can set themselves to avoid any scenario that they don't want to be in.
So what are you doing then to make money? If you're not selling data, how will you build this into a long-term sustainable business?
So we're doing what we like to call humane advertising. And so the idea behind humane advertising is we take things that you already know that you've given us to help with advertisements. So for example, right now, advertisers can just blanket make an ad to the Parler community. They can also say, hey, there's a prominent individual over here. Let's use Dan Bongino, for example. They can say, I want to advertise to everybody who's following him. They work out a deal with us by paying our CPM. And they actually get to send a little bit of money Bongino's way too, because he offered his following list to be able to promote to that audience. And so the really nice thing is people are not having their data mined, and they're not actually being targeted in a creepy way. But we can still have humane ads running out that are making us a really good amount of money. I mean, we opened this ad network just about a month ago or 2 months ago in beta form with no instructions and anything. And we're seeing a tremendous return already on these ads, a lot of interest.
Now, that said, there has been some concern about the experience being a little bit buggy. There have been some glitches at the same time. You have managed to rack up, as you say, 12 million users. You've got the FTC scrutinizing Facebook along with other branches of the U.S. government. Does Parler's success prove that Facebook is not a monopoly? Or in your experience, do you believe Facebook is stifling competition in unfair ways?
Well, they're certainly getting in a lot of trouble, but I think Parler is actually proving that there is a possibility for competition as much as people are trying to, stop us, rightfully so, because we're bringing in a lot of people every day to our platform. It has tremendous value. And so, in regards to Facebook and Twitter and these other companies, really Parler is the one thing that's kind of stopping the government from going into these antitrust suits, because we're proving competition is a possibility. So our success in a weird way is kind of their saving grace.